First contact. The sleek, silvery vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to human detection systems. Inside, 3 alien beings from the distant planet Zora prepared for their first encounter with humanity. Their mission: to study the peculiar reproductive habits of Earth's dominant species. Commander Cell, the leader of the expedition, gazed out at the blue and green planet below. His iridescent scales shimmered in the dim light of the ship's bridge as he turned to address his team. "Remember," Cell said, his voice a melodious trill, "we are here to observe and learn. The humans must not become aware of our presence. Our research depends on their natural behavior." Science Officer Vira nodded, her tentacles waving in agreement. "I've analyzed their global information network. It's fascinating how much data they freely share, but I'm still confused about their reproductive cycle. There seems to be no clear mating season." The third member of the team, cultural specialist Zorn, chimed in. "That's precisely why we're here. The Galactic Council is baffled by human reproduction. How can a species survive without a synchronized breeding period? It defies everything we know about successful propagation." As the ship touched down in a secluded forest clearing, the trio activated their personal cloaking devices. They stepped out into the cool night air, their senses immediately overwhelmed by the riot of unfamiliar scents and sounds. "We'll begin our observations in the nearby settlement," Cell declared, consulting a holographic map projected from his wrist device. "Remember, we're not to interfere under any circumstances. We're here to study, not to engage." The alien researchers made their way silently through the woods, their advanced technology allowing them to move undetected. As they approached the outskirts of a small town, they were struck by the chaotic arrangement of dwellings and the constant hum of activity, even in the late hours. "Look," Vira whispered, pointing to a couple walking hand in hand down a quiet street. "Are they preparing to mate?" Zorn consulted his datapad. "Unclear. Human mating rituals are complex and varied. They don't seem to follow any predictable pattern." The aliens watched in fascination as the couple stopped under a streetlight, embracing and sharing a kiss before parting ways. "Intriguing," Cell murmured. They engaged in physical contact, but there was no attempt at reproduction. Perhaps it was some form of social bonding. As the night wore on, the Zoran researchers observed several more instances of human interaction. They watched families in their homes, couples on late-night dates, and individuals going about their solitary routines. With each observation, their confusion only grew. "I don't understand," Vera said, her tentacles twitching in frustration. "We've observed numerous potential mating pairs, but no actual reproduction. How do they decide when to procreate?" Zorn shook his head, his bioluminescent spots pulsing with excitement. "It seems that humans engage in intimate behaviors frequently, but reproduction is somehow separate from these interactions. It's as if they've decoupled pleasure from procreation." Commander Cell's eyes narrowed as he processed this information. Fascinating, but also concerning. How can a species survive with such an inefficient reproductive strategy? Surely their population must be in decline. Vira quickly pulled up some statistics on her datapad. "On the contrary, Commander, human population has been growing steadily for centuries. Despite wars, diseases, and natural disasters, they continued to thrive." The 3 aliens exchanged looks of bewilderment. Everything they were observing seemed to contradict their understanding of successful species propagation. As dawn approached, they retreated to their hidden ship to compile their initial findings. The small vessel hummed with energy as complex algorithms processed the night's observations, cross-referencing them with the vast database of galactic knowledge. "Preliminary analysis complete," Vira announced, her tentacles dancing over holographic displays. "It appears that humans are capable of reproducing year-round without any specific mating season. Furthermore, they engage in intimate behaviors for reasons beyond reproduction, including pair bonding, pleasure, and social interaction." Zorn's bioluminescent spots flickered rapidly as he added, Their society seems built around these complex emotional and physical connections. It's not just about reproduction, it's about forming lasting bonds and social structures. Commander Cell paced the bridge, his scaled brow furrowed in concentration. This is unprecedented. A species that has separated reproduction from cyclical biological imperatives. It challenges everything we thought we knew about evolutionary success. The team spent the next few hours debating the implications of their discoveries. They formulated new research questions and adjusted their observation protocols. As the sun rose over the horizon, bathing the Earth in golden light, the Zoran researchers prepared for another day of study. "We need to delve deeper," Cell declared. "We must understand how this reproductive strategy affects their society, their relationships, and their evolution as a species. This could revolutionize our understanding of intelligent life in the galaxy." As they ventured out once again, the alien observers were filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. They were on the cusp of groundbreaking discoveries, but they also realized that the more they learned about humans, the more complex and mysterious this species became. Little did they know that their mission was about to take an unexpected turn, one that would challenge not only their understanding of humanity, but also their own deeply held beliefs about life, love, and the nature of intelligence itself. The day's observations proved even more perplexing than the night's. The Zorans watched as humans went about their daily lives, engaging in a dizzying array of activities that seemed to have little to do with reproduction. They saw people working in offices, shopping in stores, exercising in parks, and engaging in countless forms of entertainment. "I don't understand," Vera said as they observed a bustling city square. "When do they find time to focus on reproduction? How do they ensure the continuation of their species with all these distractions?" Zorn, who had been intently studying a group of teenagers laughing and chatting, replied, "I believe these social interactions may be part of their mate selection process, but it's so inefficient compared to our pheromone-based system." Commander Cell remained silent, his keen eyes taking in every detail. He was starting to suspect that there was something more to human reproduction than they had initially believed, something that went beyond mere biological imperatives. As the day wore on, the team sped up to cover more ground. Vera found herself observing a hospital, fascinated by the medical technologies humans had developed. Zorn wandered through a university campus, trying to understand how humans passed knowledge to their young. And Cell, driven by a growing hunch, decided to visit a local library. In the quiet stacks, Cell's cloaking device allowed him to browse undetected. He was drawn to the section on human relationships and reproduction. As he scanned book titles and flipped through pages, his confusion only grew. Love, romance, family. These were concepts that had no direct translation in Zoran language. As night fell once again, the team regrouped at their ship to share their findings. "Humans have developed incredible medical technology to assist with reproduction," Vera reported excitedly. "They can even help infertile couples conceive. It's as if they're defying their own biological limitations." Zorn chimed in, his bioluminescent spots pulsing rapidly. "Their education system is fascinating. They spend years preparing their young for adulthood, teaching them not just survival skills, but abstract concepts and creative thinking. It's so much more than mere information transfer." When it was Cell's turn, he was uncharacteristically quiet for a moment. "I believe," he said slowly, "that we've been approaching this all wrong. Human reproduction isn't just a biological function. It's intertwined with complex emotional and social structures that we barely understand." He went on to explain the concepts he'd encountered in the library: love, commitment, family. The idea that humans often chose to reproduce not out of biological necessity, but out of a desire to create a lasting bond with another person and to nurture a new life together. As the Zoran researchers grappled with these new ideas, they realized that their mission had become far more complex than they had anticipated. They weren't just studying a biological process. They were delving into the very core of what made humans unique as a species. "We need to adjust our approach," Zal declared. "We've been looking at human reproduction through the lens of our own experiences. But to truly understand it, we need to try to see it through their eyes. And so, as a new day dawned, the Zoran team prepared to immerse themselves more deeply in human society. They were no longer just passive observers. They were on a quest to understand one of the most complex and fascinating species in the galaxy. Little did they know that their journey was about to take them to places they never expected, both in the human world and within themselves. The human connection. Commander Cell stood motionless, his iridescent scales shimmering under the soft glow of Earth's moon. The Zoran leader was perplexed, his multifaceted eyes fixed on a scene unfolding before him. In a small, cozy home, a human couple sat on a worn couch, their fingers intertwined, watching what the aliens had learned was called a romantic comedy. Fascinating, Cell murmured, his voice a low hum. They seemed to derive great pleasure from watching fictionalized mating rituals. Vira, the team's science officer, waved her tentacles in agreement. Indeed, it appears these movies serve as a form of instruction and entertainment regarding their complex courtship behaviors. As the Zoran researchers continued their clandestine observation, they were unprepared for the emotional roller coaster that was about to unfold before them. The human couple on the couch, Mark and Sarah, had been dating for several months. Unbeknownst to Sarah, Mark had been planning a surprise that would change their lives forever. As the movie credits rolled, Mark turned to Sarah, his heart pounding. "Sarah," he began, his voice trembling slightly, "these past few months have been the happiest of my life." The aliens watched in rapt attention, their advanced sensory organs picking up on the elevated heart rates and increased pheromone production of both humans. Mark continued, sliding off the couch and dropping to one knee. He produced a small velvet box from his pocket. "Sarah, will you marry me?" The Zoran observers were stunned. They had encountered the concept of marriage in their research, but witnessing a proposal firsthand was an entirely different experience. Sarah's eyes welled with tears as she nodded enthusiastically. "Yes. Oh my God, yes," she exclaimed, throwing her arms around Mark. As the couple embraced, kissing passionately, the aliens exchanged bewildered looks. "I don't understand," Zorn, the cultural specialist, admitted. "They've agreed to a long-term mating arrangement, but there's no guarantee of offspring. What's the evolutionary advantage?" Zell's brow furrowed. Perhaps there's more to human reproduction than mere biological imperatives. This love they speak of, it seems to be a driving force in their decision-making process. The team spent the next few days observing Mark and Sarah as they shared their news with friends and family. The outpouring of joy and celebration surrounding the engagement was unlike anything the Zorans had ever witnessed. "It's as if the entire social group is invested in this pair bonding," Vera noted, her tentacles twitching with excitement. "The communal support must significantly increase the chances of successful offspring." As they continued their research, the Zorans discovered that human reproduction was intricately linked to a complex web of social, emotional, and cultural factors. They observed couples struggling with infertility, same-sex partnerships choosing adoption or surrogacy, and single parents raising children with the support of their communities. One afternoon, while observing a local park, the team encountered a scene that would forever change their understanding of human relationships. A young girl had fallen off her bicycle, scraping her knee. Her father immediately rushed to her side, scooping her up in his arms and comforting her. The tenderness and love in this simple act struck a chord with the alien observers. "Look at the level of investment in a single offspring," Zorn marveled. "The energy expended on nurturing and protecting one child is extraordinary." Zell nodded slowly, a new understanding dawning in his alien mind. It's not just about quantity, he mused. Humans focus on the quality of life for each individual offspring. Their reproductive strategy isn't about producing the most progeny, but about ensuring each child has the best possible chance at success. As the days turned into weeks, the Zoran researchers found themselves increasingly captivated by the intricacies of human relationships. They witnessed acts of kindness between strangers, the unbreakable bonds of friendship, and the fierce, protective love of parents for their children. One evening, as they compiled their latest findings, Vera made a startling observation. "Commander," she said, her voice tinged with awe, "I believe we've discovered something revolutionary. The human's ability to form deep emotional connections doesn't just apply to mating pairs or parent-child relationships. It extends to their entire species." Zell and Zorn gathered around Vera's holographic display, their eyes widening as they absorbed the data. "You're right," Zorn breathed. "Look at these instances of humans risking their lives for complete strangers or rallying together in times of crisis. Their capacity for empathy and cooperation is unprecedented." Commander Excel stood in silence for a long moment, processing the implications of their discoveries. When he finally spoke, his voice was filled with a mixture of admiration and concern. "We came here to study human reproduction," he said slowly, "but we stumbled upon something far more significant. The humans' emotional bonds, their ability to cooperate and care for one another beyond immediate family groups. It's not just a reproductive strategy, it's the key to their species' success." The three Zorans exchanged meaningful looks, each of them grappling with the weight of this realization. "But what does this mean for us?" Zorn asked, his bioluminescent spots pulsing rapidly. "If we report these findings to the Galactic Council, it could upend our entire understanding of intelligent life." Vira's tentacles waved in agitation, not to mention the potential threat. If humans can form such strong bonds so quickly, what would happen if they discovered other intelligent life? Would they extend that same empathy to us, or see us as a threat to their way of life? Commander Cell raised a hand, silencing his team's worried speculations. "We need more data," he declared. "We cannot jump to conclusions based on limited observations. We must delve deeper, understand the full scope of human emotional capacity and its impact on their society." As the Zoran team prepared for the next phase of their mission, they were unaware that their own emotional barriers were beginning to crumble. The more they observed humanity's capacity for love, compassion, and selflessness, the more they found themselves questioning their own society's cold, logical approach to existence. Little did they know that their journey to understand human reproduction would lead them to rediscover a part of themselves long suppressed by their logical, ordered society. As they continued their mission, the lines between observer and observed would blur, leading to a series of events that would change not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. Unexpected connections. The holographic display flickered in the dimly lit interior of the Zoran ship, casting an ethereal glow over Commander Cell's scaled features. His multifaceted eyes reflected a cascade of data, birth rates, emotional indicators, and social interaction patterns of the humans they've been studying. "Extraordinary," Cell murmured, his voice a mix of awe and concern. "Their reproductive strategies defy all known galactic norms." Vira, her tentacles dancing over the controls, chimed in. "Commander, I've detected an anomaly. Our prolonged exposure to human emotions is affecting our own neurochemistry. We're experiencing feelings." The word hung in the air, alien and almost forbidden. Zoran society had long since evolved beyond the need for emotions, viewing them as primitive and inefficient. Yet here they were, on a distant planet, finding themselves drawn into the complex web of human sentimentality. Zorn, usually the most stoic of the group, surprised them all by saying, "I find myself curious about these feelings. Perhaps a more immersive approach to our research is warranted." Cell considered this for a moment. Their mission parameters strictly forbade direct interaction with the subjects, but the potential knowledge to be gained was too significant to ignore. With a decisive nod, he made a choice that would alter the course of their mission, and potentially the fate of two civilizations. "We'll initiate contact," Zal declared, "but we must proceed with extreme caution. Our understanding of human unpredictability is still limited." Using their advanced technology, the Zorans fabricated human disguises, not just physical appearances, but entire identities complete with backstories and credentials. They would pose as visiting researchers, allowing them to interact openly with humans while maintaining a plausible cover. Their first point of contact was a renowned human scientist, Dr. Elara Chen, an expert in human biology and sociology. As they sat in her office, their human facades hiding their true alien nature, the Zorans found themselves fascinated by the warmth and enthusiasm Dr. Chen exuded. "I'm thrilled to collaborate with you," Dr. Chen smiled, her eyes twinkling with genuine excitement. "Your research proposal on human pair bonding and its effects on reproduction is fascinating. What made you choose this field of study?" Cell, now appearing as Dr. Xavier Ellis, felt an unfamiliar sensation, nervousness. "We've always been intrigued by the complexity of human relationships," he replied carefully. "The way emotions influence your reproductive choices is unique in our experience." Dr. Chen leaned forward, her interest piqued. "You speak as if you were observing us from the outside," she chuckled. "But surely, as humans yourselves, you understand the power of love and connection." The Zorans exchanged quick glances, realizing they'd have to navigate this conversation delicately. Vira, disguised as Dr. Valerie Reese, stepped in smoothly. "We strive for objectivity in our research," she explained. "It sometimes makes us sound a bit detached." As the meeting progressed, the Zorans found themselves drawn into a lively discussion about human relationships, reproduction, and the role of emotions in society. Dr. Chen's passion for her work was infectious, and the aliens felt an unfamiliar warmth spreading through them, the stirring of genuine connection. Over the next few weeks, the Zorans immersed themselves in human society like never before. They attended social gatherings, participated in research projects, and even experienced human recreation activities. Each interaction brought new insights, but also new complications. Zorn, now known as Dr. Zachary Olsen, found himself particularly affected by their experiences. During a team meeting in their hidden ship, he made a startling confession. "I think I'm experiencing what humans call friendship," he said, his voice filled with wonder and a hint of fear. "These emotions, they're not just chemical reactions. They're powerful." Cell and Vera were shocked, but as they reflected on their own experiences, they realized they too had been changed by their time among humans. The lines between research and genuine connection were blurring. Their mission took an unexpected turn when Dr. Chen invited them to attend her sister's wedding. The concept of a public ceremony to celebrate pair bonding was foreign to the Zorans, but they accepted, seeing it as a valuable research opportunity. The wedding was a sensory explosion, the music, the flowers, the palpable joy in the air. As the bride and groom exchanged vows, promising to love and support each other through all of life's challenges, the Zorans felt an unfamiliar ache in their hearts. Vira, her human eyes glistening with unexpected tears, whispered to Cell, "I think I understand now. This isn't just about reproduction. It's about building a life together, supporting each other. It's beautiful." Cell nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. The depth of human emotion, the strength of their bonds, it was all so much more than they had ever imagined. He found himself wondering about the coldness of Zoran society, the lack of deep connections. Had they lost something vital in their pursuit of logic and efficiency? As the celebration continued around them, the Zorans realized their mission had evolved into something far more profound than they had ever anticipated. They weren't just studying human reproduction anymore. They were learning about the very essence of what it meant to be alive, to connect, to love. But with this new understanding came a heavy realization. How could they report their findings to the Galactic Council without revealing the profound effect this mission had had on them? And more importantly, how could they return to their emotionless, logical lives on Zora after experiencing the rich tapestry of human emotions? As the wedding party danced and laughed around them, Cell made a decision that would change everything. "We need to tell them the truth," he said to his team, his voice low but firm. "Not just about our mission, but about who we really are." Vira and Zorn stared at him in shock. Revealing their true identity to the humans was strictly forbidden, potentially catastrophic. But as they looked around at the joy and love surrounding them, they knew Cell was right. They had discovered something on Earth far more valuable than mere scientific data. They had discovered a new way of existing, of connecting, of being alive. As the music swelled and the stars twinkled overhead, the Zorans steeled themselves for what was to come. They were about to embark on the most daring phase of their mission yet, one that would not only change their lives, but potentially reshape the relationship between Earth and the vast, unknown galaxy beyond. Worlds collide. The laboratory hummed with tension as Dr. Elara Chen stared at the three beings before her, her mind reeling from the revelation they had just shared. Gone were the human facades of Dr. Xavier Ellis, Dr. Valerie Reese, and Dr. Zachary Olsen. In their place stood Commander Cell, Science Officer Vera, and Cultural Specialist Zorn, extraterrestrial researchers from the distant planet Zora. "This is impossible," Elara breathed, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and wonder. "You're telling me you're actual aliens?" Zell's iridescent scales shimmered under the fluorescent lights as he nodded solemnly. "We are. We came to Earth to study human reproduction, but we discovered so much more." The room fell silent as Elara processed this earth-shattering information. Her scientific mind raced with questions, while her human heart grappled with the implications of first contact. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed as a computerized voice announced, "Unknown energy signature detected. Potential extraterrestrial threat. Initiating lockdown protocols." Panic flashed across the aliens' faces. "We must have triggered your detection systems when we revealed our true forms," Vira explained, her tentacles writhing anxiously. Elara sprung into action, her initial shock giving way to determination. "Quick, follow me. We need to get you out of here before the authorities arrive." As they raced through the corridors, dodging security personnel and locked doors, Elara's mind whirled. She was harboring aliens, a dream come true for any scientist, but a potential catastrophe for global security. They burst out of an emergency exit into the cool night air, alarms still blaring behind them. Zorn's bioluminescent spots pulsed rapidly as he scanned the area. "Our ship is nearby. We can reach it if we hurry." But as they sprinted across the open field, bright spotlights suddenly illuminated the area. The whir of helicopter blades filled the air, and armed soldiers seemed to materialize from the shadows surrounding them. "Stop right there," a commanding voice boomed through a megaphone. "You are surrounded. Surrender immediately." Elara stepped forward, her hands raised. "Wait, please, don't shoot. They're not a threat. They're researchers like us." A tense standoff ensued as Elara tried to explain the situation to the increasingly agitated military personnel. The Zorans, unused to such confrontation, huddled together, their alien features causing visible unease among the human soldiers. Just as it seemed the situation would escalate into violence, a new voice cut through the chaos. "Stand down, everyone." A distinguished-looking man in a suit strode onto the scene, flanked by more soldiers. "I'm Director Jackson of the Global Extraterrestrial Response Unit. Dr. Chen, I believe you and your colleagues have quite a story to tell us." Hours later, in a securely guarded conference room, Elara, the Zorans, and a team of Earth's top scientists and government officials sat around a large table. The atmosphere was charged with a mixture of excitement, fear, and curiosity. Director Jackson leaned forward, his eyes intense. "So, let me get this straight. You came to Earth to study our reproduction methods because you find them inefficient." Dell nodded, his alien features now fully visible. "Initially, yes. But we've discovered that human reproduction is intrinsically linked to something far more fascinating: your capacity for emotional connection." The room buzzed with murmurs as Cell explained their mission, their discoveries, and the profound effect their time on Earth had had on them. "In our society," Vira added, her tentacles gesturing expressively, "we had eliminated emotions, viewing them as primitive and unnecessary. But now we see that they are the source of your species' greatest strengths." Zorn chimed in, his bioluminescent spots pulsing softly. Your ability to form deep bonds, to cooperate on a massive scale, to create art and music, it all stems from your emotional capacity. It's beautiful. The human officials exchanged glances, clearly struggling to process this information. A military general spoke up, his voice gruff. "That's all very touching, but what are your true intentions? How do we know this isn't the prelude to an invasion?" Ilara jumped to the Zorans' defense. If they wanted to invade, they could have done so already. Their technology is far beyond ours. They're here to learn, to understand. This is an opportunity for unprecedented scientific and cultural exchange. As the debate raged on, a young scientist named Dr. Aiden Patel had been quietly working on a computer in the corner. Suddenly, he stood up, his eyes wide with excitement. "Everyone, you need to see this," he said, projecting a complex diagram onto the main screen. "I've been analyzing the data from the Zorans' ship. They're faster-than-light travel technology. It's powered by something akin to empathy. The stronger the emotional bond between the crew, the more efficient the drive becomes." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Director Jackson was the first to speak. "Are you saying that human emotions, love, compassion, empathy, are the key to interstellar travel?" Cell nodded slowly. "It appears so. Our society's focus on logic and efficiency actually held us back. Your emotional capacity, which we once saw as a weakness, may be the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe." The atmosphere in the room shifted palpably. The fear and suspicion began to give way to a sense of wonder and possibility. Ilara stood up, her eyes shining with excitement. "Don't you see? This is why they revealed themselves to us. This isn't just first contact, it's the beginning of a partnership that could revolutionize both our societies." As the humans and Zorans began to discuss the possibilities of collaboration, sharing knowledge and culture, a new era of interstellar cooperation was dawning. The Zorans' mission to study human reproduction had led to a discovery far more profound: the power of human emotions to bridge the vast distances of space and bring different species together. Outside the secure facility, news of the alien visitors was beginning to spread. The world held its breath, poised on the brink of a new age of discovery and connection. Humanity's capacity for love, empathy, and emotional bonds, once seen as evolutionary quirks, were about to become their greatest asset in exploring the cosmos. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Earth prepared to take its first steps into a larger, more wondrous universe, guided by the very emotions that made them uniquely human. Cosmic convergence. The world was abuzz with excitement and trepidation. News of the alien visitors had spread like wildfire, dominating every headline and social media feed. Hashtags like #AlienLove and #CosmicConnection trended globally as humanity grappled with the reality of extraterrestrial life. In a historic address to the United Nations, broadcast to billions around the globe, Director Jackson stood alongside Commander Cell, that unlikely alliance a powerful symbol of interspecies cooperation. "People of Earth," Jackson began, his voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment, "today marks the dawn of a new era for humanity. We are not alone in the universe, and our new allies bring with them knowledge that will revolutionize our understanding of science, culture, and our very existence." Cell stepped forward, his iridescent scales shimmering under the lights. "Greetings, humans," he said, his melodious voice translated in real time. "We came to study you, but in doing so, we discovered something extraordinary: the power of your emotions." As Cell explained the Zorans' mission and their groundbreaking discoveries about emotion-powered space travel, social media exploded with reactions. Memes featuring Cell's distinctive appearance flooded the internet, while serious discussions about the implications of this new technology dominated scientific forums. Meanwhile, in a high-tech laboratory complex hastily constructed for joint human-Zoran research, Dr. Ilara Chen and Vero worked tirelessly on the Empathy Engine, a prototype designed to harness the power of human emotions for interstellar travel. "It's incredible," Ilara marveled, watching as the engine's core pulsed with energy in response to the emotional output of volunteer test subjects. Love, joy, even sorrow, they all contribute to the engine's power in different ways. Virus tentacles danced excitedly over the controls. Yes, but we're still missing something. The engine's output is impressive, but not yet sufficient for sustained faster-than-light travel. As they worked, Zorn entered the lab, his bioluminescent spots pulsing with excitement. "You need to see this," he said, activating a holographic display. "We've been monitoring global emotional responses to our presence. Look at these spikes in collective empathy and wonder." The hologram showed a pulsating globe, with waves of color representing different emotional states sweeping across continents. It was a visual representation of humanity's collective emotional response to first contact. Elara's eyes widened as she studied the data. "That's it," she exclaimed. "We've been focusing on individual emotions, but what if the key is collective emotional resonance?" The team worked feverishly to recalibrate the empathy engine, incorporating data from the global emotional map. As they made the final adjustments, the engine's core began to glow with an intensity they had never seen before. Alarms blared as energy readings went off the charts. "It's working," Vera shouted over the noise. "The engine is generating enough power for interstellar travel." But their excitement was short-lived. As the energy output continued to climb, cracks began to appear in the engine's containment field. "It's overloading," Elara yelled. "We can't control it." Just as it seemed disaster was imminent, Cell burst into the lab. Assessing the situation in an instant, he rushed to the engine, placing his hands on the pulsing core. "What are you doing?" Zorn cried out in alarm. "Completing the circuit," Cell replied through gritted teeth. "Our emotions, they're the missing piece." As Cell channeled his own newfound emotions into the engine, the energy stabilized. The cracks in the containment field sealed themselves, and the alarms fell silent. In that moment, something extraordinary happened. The lab, the entire complex, and even a significant portion of the surrounding area were enveloped in a shimmering field of energy. Outside, stunned onlookers watched as the building seemed to flicker and phase, as if existing in multiple realities at once. For a brief, awe-inspiring moment, those inside the field could see glimpses of distant worlds, star systems, and even other dimensions. As the effects subsided, Cell stumbled back from the engine, caught by Elara before he could fall. It worked, he breathed, his scales glowing with residual energy. "We've done it." The implications of what they had achieved were staggering. Not only had they created a viable method of faster-than-light travel, but they had also glimpsed the true nature of the universe, a cosmos interconnected by the very emotions that made us human. In the days that followed, as news of the breakthrough spread, the world was transformed. Old conflicts and divisions began to seem petty in the face of the vast, wondrous universe that now lay open before them. A new sense of global unity emerged as humanity prepared to take its first steps into the cosmic community. Preparations began for the first human-Zoran joint mission to the stars. As the newly christened starship Harmony was unveiled, its sleek design incorporating both human and Zoran technology, crowds gathered to witness history in the making. Dr. Elara Chen, now appointed as Earth's first ambassador to the stars, stood before the assembled dignitaries and press. "Today, we embark on the greatest adventure in human history," she announced. "Thanks to our alliance with the Zorans, we have unlocked the power of our own emotions to traverse the cosmos. But more importantly, we have discovered that the very things that make us human, our capacity for love, empathy, and connection, are the keys to understanding the universe itself." As the crew of the Harmony, a diverse team of humans and Zorans, prepared for launch, billions around the world watched with bated breath. The ship's empathy engine hummed with power, fueled by the collective hope and wonder of an entire planet. Commander Cell, standing proudly alongside his human counterparts, gave the order, "Initiate launch sequence." With a brilliant flash of light, the Harmony lifted off, quickly ascending beyond the atmosphere. As it reached the threshold of Earth's orbit, the empathy engine engaged fully. For a moment, the ship seemed to stretch and distort, and then, in a dazzling burst of color and light, it vanished from normal space, propelled by the power of emotion towards distant stars and new discoveries. Back on Earth, cheers erupted from every corner of the globe. Humanity had taken its first real step into the cosmic ocean, guided by the very emotions that made them unique. As the celebrations continued, Vera and Zorn, who had chosen to remain on Earth to continue their research, shared a meaningful look. Who would have thought, Zorn mused, his bioluminescent spots pulsing gently, that when we came to study human reproduction, we'd end up revolutionizing the very nature of space travel. Vira's tentacles waved in agreement, and in the process, we discovered something even more valuable: the power of human connection. As night fell, people around the world gazed up at the stars with new wonder and hope. The universe had suddenly become a much larger, more exciting place, and humanity was ready to embrace its cosmic destiny, powered by the very emotions that made them human. The story of the Zorans and their transformative encounter with humanity would be told for generations to come, a testament to the incredible potential that lies within every heart and mind, waiting to be unlocked by the power of understanding, empathy, and love.